Season 2 of The Sandman ended with a gut-wrenching twist that left fans stunned and emotional. One of the most powerful and unexpected moments was the death of Dream, also known as Morpheus. This wasn't just a random tragic turn. There was deep meaning behind it. The showrunner of The Sandman, Alan Heinberg, broke down the reasons behind Dream's death, explaining why it had to happen and what it means for the story moving forward. Based on Neil Gaiman's iconic comic series, The Sandman has already cemented itself as one of Netflix's most successful fantasy shows, and Season 2 took the emotional storytelling to a whole new level. According to Heinberg, Dream's death was not about a villain attacking him or a twist for the sake of drama. It was something Dream himself chose. Over time, Morpheus realized he wasn't the noble hero he thought he was. He finally understood that he had been hurting the very people he claimed to love. He had always believed he was the guiding light among the endless, a noble and honorable ruler. But the harsh truth hit him hard. He was actually the source of pain and trauma for many in his life. In everyone else's story, he wasn't a savior. He was the villain. That self-awareness shattered him. This realization became too much for Dream to live with. As Heinberg explained, once Dream acknowledged how much damage he had caused, he felt he couldn't go on being the same person. He was overwhelmed with grief, guilt, and regret. One of the most painful moments in his journey was when he admitted to his sister's death that he could no longer continue after killing his own son. That moment defined the end of his journey. He told her that the dreaming, the realm he ruled over, no longer held meaning for him. His grief was so deep that he didn't see a future for himself. That's why he made the heartbreaking decision to step away from being Dream, letting go of everything he once was. Heinberg said this transformation was the key to wrapping up Dream's arc. He had grown too tired, too broken, and too lost to continue. Instead of trying to fix his mistakes in his current form, he realized he needed to be reborn as someone new, someone more human. That's when Daniel enters the picture. Dream's new incarnation would be Daniel, a gentler, more compassionate version of what Dream could never become. Lucienne, Dream's most loyal companion, saw that too. She knew Dream couldn't evolve any further in the form he had now. The only way forward was through complete transformation. This change also connects deeply with the original comics. In the source material, there's a line that Neil Gaiman wrote where Dream says to Death, "I'm so tired, my sister." Heinberg saw that moment as the emotional heart of the entire arc. There's no mystery or ambiguity there, just a worn-out being who had carried the weight of the world for too long and simply couldn't go on. The pain of losing his son and the crushing guilt made him see death as his only way out. He wasn't giving up out of weakness. He was making a choice, a conscious and deliberate one. In Season 2's final moments, we see Dream battling not with swords or spells, but with the internal war raging inside him. Even when the crone questions his power, asking him what he can possibly do to fight them, Dream doesn't resist anymore. Death tries to offer him hope, saying he's been in worse situations before and survived. But Dream doesn't take that hand. Deep down, he knows that he's no longer the right person to lead the dreaming. He doesn't want to live like this anymore, knowing the harm he's caused. So instead, he accepts his end and lets go. It's a sad, but powerful way to close his story. While fans may be heartbroken to see Dream go, it's a fitting end for a character whose entire journey has been about reflection, responsibility, and redemption. Dream's story feels complete now. His arc has come full circle. He began as a proud and rigid ruler, slowly came to understand the consequences of his actions, and ultimately chose to end that version of himself to make room for something better. Even though Season 2 wraps up Dream's journey, the ending doesn't feel like a dead end for the Sandman as a whole. With Daniel now taking over as the new Dream, there's plenty of room to explore a new story. Daniel represents hope, change, and the possibility of a Dream who is more emotionally in tune with the people around him. If there's ever a Season 3, it would be exciting to dive into Daniel's reign and see what kind of ruler he becomes. While it's unclear if the Sandman will continue after Season 2, especially with the show already delivering a satisfying conclusion, fans can still dream, no pun intended, of what might come next. The door has been left open just enough. Daniel stepping in as the new Dream means that the dreaming is still alive and evolving. There's a whole new world that can still be shaped, explored, and reimagined. Even if this is truly the end, the Sandman gave fans an emotional, thoughtful, and respectful send off to one of fantasy's most complex characters. It stayed true to the essence of Neil Gaiman's work, while adding a fresh perspective through the screen adaptation. Dream's journey from arrogance to awareness, from control to compassion, from life to self-sacrifice, will stick with viewers for a long time. This wasn't just the death of a character. It was a rebirth of the entire idea of what Dream could be. Alan Heinberg and the creative team clearly had a vision for this conclusion. They didn't want Dream to be a static character. They wanted to explore his growth, his failings, and ultimately his willingness to accept change through death. The way they built this narrative made Dream's decision believable and heartbreaking. His end wasn't sudden or senseless. It was the only way forward for someone who had lived through so much inner turmoil. So while we may never get more episodes of The Sandman, at least not anytime soon, the story feels complete in a way that many shows don't manage to achieve. It gave us closure, depth, and a new beginning all in one. Whether or not Daniel's era will be explored, fans can hold on to the beautiful and tragic arc that Morpheus went through. A character like him doesn't just disappear. He lives on in the hearts of those who watched him struggle, fail, grow, and ultimately make the most human choice of all, to change, even if it costs everything.